Hello students! Welcome to our English lesson. I wish you all have a good time as well as maximum benefit. In today's lessons we are going to talk about conditionals. I am going over the basic structure and the main meaning of the all conditional sentences. If you studied them before, then this lesson is going to be a kind of revision for you. But if you are not so familiar with the conditionals, then this lesson is going to be an excellent introduction. So let's get started. Sometimes it feels like that English grammar can be pretty loose, like there are some rules, but sometimes they don't apply. Sometimes there are exceptions, but there are some grammatical structures in English that follow really clear rules, and the structure of conditional sentence is nice and clear, which make it easier for you to feel confident about the way that express your thought and your ideas. We use conditional sentences to explain what actually happens, what could happen, so a possible and likely outcome in the future. We talk about the wish would happen, so imagining a different outcome for our present situation, and what might have happened, so thinking about a different outcome that happened in the past. There are 4 types of conditional sentences. They are really similar, but they are not the same. If I get sick, I go to the doctor. If I get sick, I will go to the doctor. If I got sick, I would go to the doctor. If I hadn't been sick, I would have gone to the doctor. So let's talk about what is the same and what is similar. They all use 2 clauses. There are 2 parts to each sentence separated by comma, and they all use the conjunction if. Just a little reminder that we use conjunctions in English to join 2 ideas together in one sentence. In all conditional sentences, we use an if clause and a result clause. So if the clause is the event or the situation that must happen, in order for the other thing to happen, then the result can only happen if the if clause occurs. And that is why it is called a conditional sentences. A condition is something that you have to do or a situation that needs to exist in order for something else to happen. For instance, if it rains tomorrow, we will not come. You can't get this without squeezing this. There is a real relationship between these 2 things. One relies on the other. If you squeeze an orange, you get an orange juice. There are 4 types of conditional sentences. They are classified according to the degree of probability that they express. Each type of conditional sentences uses different tenses to show the difference in the degree of probability. What are the different types of conditional sentences? They are 4. Each expresses a different degree of probability that a situation will occur or would have occurred. The 4 conditional deals with 4 different kinds of cause and effect. Zero conditional. Water boils if it reaches 100 degrees Celsius. The zero conditional uses if or when and must be followed by the present simple. First conditional. If I study, I'll pass. We use if, unless, plus present and then will, future simple. Second conditional. If I studied, I would pass. The structure here is if plus past, then would plus infinitive. Third conditional. If I had studied, I would have passed. We use if plus past perfect, then would have and past participle. Let's look at each these types of different conditionals in details. Zero conditional deals with real cause and effect, things that really do happen. Zero conditional sentences express general truth situations in which one thing always causes another. When you use zero conditional, you are talking about a general truth rather than a specific instance of something. Consider the following examples. If you heat water to 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. If you pour oil into water, it floats. There are a couple of things to take note of in the above sentences in which the zero conditional is used. First, when using the zero conditional, the correct tense to use in both clauses is the simple present tense. A common mistake is to use the simple future tense. Secondly, notice that the words if and when can be used interchangeably in these zero conditional sentences. This because the outcome will always be the same, so it doesn't matter if or when it happens. We use zero conditionals when talk about universal truths. For instance, if you heat ice, it turns to water. It is the truth. To talk about habits. For instance, if I see a spider, I get very scared. The zero conditional is used to make statements about the real world and often refers to general truths, such as scientific facts. The time is now or always, and the situation is real and possible. The first conditional deals with predictions of future, cause and effect. So the form is if clause, then present tense main clause, and then future tense. If I feel sick tomorrow, I will not go to school. If it rains, the match will be cancelled. The first part is in the present tense, and the result clause is in the future tense. Now let's see the usage of the first conditional. We use first conditional sentences to speak about possible or probable future events. If the weather is as sunny tomorrow as it was today, we will go surfing. To make promises or warnings. If you forget my birthday, I will never speak to you again. To give comments. If you are tired, go to bed. In this case, the verb in the main clause is an imperative. It is possible to use other words instead of if in the first conditionals. Alternative to if, we use when the condition will definitely happen, as soon as. To emphasize immediacy, the situation is very urgent, unless, in place of, if not. Let's look at the difference between these sentences. If I see Sam, I will give him your message. I'm not sure if I will see him or not. When I see Sam, I will give him your message. I will definitely see Sam. My feet hurt. As soon as I get home, I'm going to take off these high heels. As soon as we have enough money saved, we will take a vacation to Costa Rica. We can't wait. You won't lose any weight unless you start eating healthier food. You won't lose any weight if you don't start eating healthier food. Unless there is an emergency at work, I will be home on time. If there is not an emergency at work, I will be home on time. Second conditional statements mention cause and effects that are possible in theory, but are unlikely. Second conditional sentences are useful for expressing outcomes that are completely unrealistic or will not likely happen in the future. The form is the following. If clause, then past tense main clause, then would plus an infinitive. Consider the following examples. If he were a bird, he would fly across the rainbow. If I had $200,000 now, I would buy a car. The second conditional is like the first conditional. We are still thinking about the future. We are thinking about a particular condition in the future and the result of this condition. But there is not a real possibility that this condition will happen. If I had any money, I would lend it to you. If I were you, I wouldn't do this. Remember, were is often used instead of was in the first and third person singular. When if is followed by the verb be, it is grammatically correct to say if I were, if he were, if she were, and if it were. The third conditional deals with causes and effects that were possible in the past but didn't actually happen. We use if clause, then past perfect tense main clause, then would have plus past participle to talk about something in the past that didn't happen. This way, we imagine how things could have been different in the past. If something had been different, something else would have happened. Consider the examples below. If I had had enough money, I would have bought the camera yesterday. If I had come home earlier, I wouldn't have missed the program. It talks about the past. It used to describe a situation that didn't happen and to imagine the result of this situation. For instance, if they had gone by bus, they would have arrived much later. He would have traveled around the world if he had had more money. Now let's look at the modal verbs in conditional sentences. We can use modal verbs can, must, may, might instead of will, would have past participle in the type first, second, and third. They can be found on both sides of the comma, in both the result and the condition, and they are used in both real and unreal scenarios. If we are not careful, many species may become extinct. If I were an airplane, I could fly in the sky. If she hadn't worn her helmet, she might have been seriously injured. Now, dear students, it's time to practice. Please look at the sentence and according to the structure, guess what type of conditional sentence they are. If I drink tea in the morning, it makes me feel sick. What type of conditional sentence is it? You're right. It is zero conditional. I will tell her if she comes. What about this sentence? Right, first conditional. If I were you, I would buy it as soon as possible. This is second conditional sentence. If I had the time, I would help you. It is second conditional. I would have done things differently if I had been the manager. Right, third conditional. If you work hard enough, you may well pass. First conditional. Water boils if you heat it to 100 degrees Celsius. Correct, zero conditional. I would be surprised if it rained. So this sentence is second conditional sentence. If she had tried harder, she might have succeeded. This is third conditional sentence. Look at the following exercise. Your task is to choose the correct answer, whether it is zero, first, second, or third types of conditional sentences. Let's get started. If Teresa were more sensible, she wouldn't get into trouble so often. Get me some ice cream if you go to the supermarket. If I am late, will you wait for me? If Vanessa had told me the truth, I would not have been so angry. If you listen to her, you will be in trouble. If you had listened to her, you wouldn't have been in trouble. Nobody have known the secret if Danny hadn't revealed it. Will you be all right by yourself if I go out tonight? If I knew how to run my own business, I would be a rich man. If anyone phones, say I'll be back about 7:30. Now it's time to watch video. Please watch the video and catch the conditional sentences.
Hey everybody, Boo Boo here, and I'm going to be answering some questions for you all so you get to know me a little better. Ready? All right, here we go. If you had a crystal ball or magic mirror, what would you want to know? I would want to see my parents as children. If you weren't an actor, what would you want to be? An explorer. How do you cut your How do you cut your sandwiches? Squares or triangles? I've never cut a triangle sandwich before. What's your favorite memory from filming the Descendants trilogy? Oh, all the movies. Oh my goodness. You know, when we were shooting Rotten to the Core, that was a really cool time. And there was one particular moment I remember watching back what we had shot in the monitor. You know, everyone's looking back at what you're filming. They're replaying it for us. And I saw myself doing this certain dance move, and I was like, whoa, there's Jay. Like, I could see the personality coming to life. Okay. What holiday do you look forward to most each year? I love Christmas. I really do. I really enjoy just the lead up to Christmas. What's your favorite decom? Brink. My older sister and I, we had a back porch and we'd put rollerblades on. We thought we were like rollerblading really fast because we saw Brink and we thought we were that cool. We weren't. What are your favorite family traditions? You know, my family, we're really big into food. Cooking is a big thing and going out to eat as a family. All right, last question. Let's see. If given the opportunity, where in space would you want to go? The moon. Going to, oh no, wait, I changed my answer. Saturn. Saturn is such a great looking planet, and it'd be so interesting to see what those rings look like up close and, you know, the meteors and everything floating around, and it would be, that would be really cool. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me and listening to my answers and learning a little bit more. Thank you. See you.
Dear students, that's all for now. We have discussed about conditional sentences. I hope you have enjoyed our lesson and got benefit. That's all for now, and all the best with your English.